I'm Julian Richings, and you are watching the convention Junkies.
Just talk about that.
Here we are, right at the end of London, Ontario Comic-Con. I guess most of you know my work through Supernatural. Hands up, Supernatural fans. Supernatural? And what other shows? Any guys?
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds, yes! It's great when I hear people talk about the other shows that I've done. War of the Worlds, shot in Toronto. I live in Toronto. That was shot in, when was it, 1991? Something like that, somewhere around there. And it was great. It's got nothing to do with the book, the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds.
Still well done, though.
It was good, wasn't it? And now, were you part of that? There was a whole bunch of fans. There was a season 1 and a season 2. And in season 1, there was a bunch of pretty people in it. And at the end of season 1, all these ugly people, like me, and a bunch of aliens came along and killed the pretty people. And people were very upset that all the pretty heroes had gone, and there was these aliens from another place, and they all looked like me too. We all had like high foreheads, big noses, and we were all very severe faces, walking around like this. And we had these things. They were like they looked like a dill pickle. And they were our ray guns, and props had come up with this idea that it was sort of like organic. It looked futuristic, and it looked like the kind of thing you would pick up on a dump. So there were these, and every time we had to kill somebody, we had to pull out a dill pickle like this and point it. And then we were told that in post-production they'd do like the ray coming from the dill pickle. But every time somebody would reach into their pocket and get a dill pickle out, we'd all start laughing. And we'd all be like this, like laughing aliens. And I swear, our hands, even if we stopped laughing with our faces, our hands were doing this. So I can't believe that we actually got accurate shots from the dill pickles. Anyway, that's little known facts about Hollywood. But it was, having said that, it was a good show, and it was kind of, it was a really different like aesthetic at the time. It was one of the first post-apocalyptic shows where I think the producer had seen the movie 1984 with John Hurt in it, and he really liked the production values and stuff, and he came back and sort of reinvented that whole look. Hi guys, come on in. We're doing it real informal, like, so come close. Don't be shy. Put the chairs round. I figure I could be up there speaking like the voice of God, but it's probably better not to. Okay, now we're really screwing these guys up. All right, keep up with us, guys. Hello. Is that a microphone? Is that? Hi, guys. We just like. Come on in. We'll end up with sort of like a circle, all holding hands and things. And then I'll be asking you personal questions about your past. Come to London Comic-Con. It's very dangerous. We reveal things about ourselves. So, Anyway, I'm supposed to rattle on here for about an hour. So get ready, get ready. I'm just keep going and going and going. It's funny because all the characters that I always play, they're always because I have these cheekbones and I have a big nose and a British accent, right? So I'm always going to be like the guy that walks around like this kind of thing. So when people actually meet me, they can't believe it because I can't keep my arms still. I can't keep still, which is why I'm not up there, because I know if I've got a microphone, I'll keep hitting the microphone and it goes bang, bang, bang. So I'm the complete opposite. And actually my best performance is really just controlling my body and just trying to being like this and not jumping around. So, and people get very confused when they see me. You're not supposed to be laughing, you're deaf. Yeah, so anyway, I make the most. Hi guys, come on in. We're having an informal, come close and no big deal. If anybody's got any questions, throw them in. I'll just keep talking, and then when you get bored, throw a question in. Yes? in Canada. Firstly, I think it might be War of the Worlds, actually. Because I came to a bit about my background. Born and raised in England, went to school. I'd say theatre school. It was actually a university. It was a drama department in the university. Worked in England for about 4 or 5 years, and then I was part of this sort of avant-garde fringe theatre company that was international in its scope, and there was a market in England, sort of touring England, but also we had to start coming abroad. We'd come to like a symposium in Italy, different places. We got invited to a symposium in Toronto at York University, and that's when I first came over to Canada, and then we came for a little bit, and then we got invited back to a theatre festival the following year. And with theatre, the thing is, there's no money in theatre, right? You get put up on people's floors. There's no like limousines and, yes, Mr. Richings, what can I get you? Can I get, like, you know, you're really like on your own. But we got billeted in these places, and I was very lucky. I got put up in a very cool household. Like, there was about 4 or 5 tenants in this household. They were all like really great people. They were very generous. And then I came back the next year and did a residency in Toronto with our show, a theatre show. Got to know them more and went back and forth, and I really liked Toronto. I just, like, I don't know what it was, and the people I liked. And then I met my wife, and my wife is a Toronto girl, and we were married in 84, and I've been in Toronto since. So I've been 35 years working in Toronto.
Oh, so you didn't come to actually do work?
Sorry?
You didn't come to do work?
No, I didn't come specifically to. It kind of was a sideways move, and then I started in theatre because I was a theatre actor, and as you can see, you know, like, I like talking to people, I like the room, I like playing the room, and then I basically did Toronto theatre, which was a bit different than the stuff I was doing. Mine was kind of like big, broad, physical stuff. Then I did a bunch of new Canadian plays. I worked with Michael Ondaatje, and I worked with some really good playwrights. And then started to do, well, I had a family, and you can't make a living as a theatre actor in Toronto, or it's very hard to do so unless you go to the Stratford Festival or you get a job at Shore at Niagara-on-the-Lake. So I started to do wacky, weird commercials. And a lot of Canadians know me. Actually, one of the first things I did, anybody remember the Winnie the Pooh commercial? Do you remember that heritage moment? Where is that? There's a teddy bear. No, there's a bear over there, Daddy. I'm going to call him Winnie. Why Winnie? Why Pooh, son? Now, many of you are too young for this. You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I did that heritage moment. So yeah, for years people would go, oh my God, Winnie the Pooh. And now it's, oh my God, death. So it's gone like from Winnie the Pooh to death. I don't know.
They have range.
Yeah, thank you. And I work with all types of animals and people, you know. So anyway, so the great thing about Toronto at the time is that I could do a theatre show, and I'd be rehearsing for a theatre show, and you could go off and you could knock off a commercial in a day or a morning and get good money. You know, you get good money for the residuals. And so I'd do both. I'd do like weird commercials, and then or a heritage moment or whatever, and I'd do a theatre show. But I started to get more and more into film and television. And I realized too, as I was getting older, I was getting 30s and 40s, and now getting older and older, the camera likes my face, like it's a very specific face. And also, I think people are more comfortable. I'm not talking about fans, I'm talking about producers of shows. People are more comfortable with odd-looking people or unusual or others when you get a little bit older, a little bit more manageable. Like, they didn't know what to do with me in my 30s and 40s, because even though I was a dad, you can't play a dad. You don't look like a dad. You know, a dad's supposed to look, I don't know, like blonde hair and blue eyes. Hi, son. How are you? Even though I had kids, like they would never put me in as a dad. that would be my biggest challenge. Julian Richings plays the father. But you know then what my child is going to be like. It's going to be some bizarre alien kind of thing. You know. And that was another show I did. I was the 6th grade alien. Do you remember that? I was the dad in that. I've done over the years, because I'm a character actor, I've done hundreds, like literally hundreds of shows. Some of them I'm very proud of. Some of them I'd be very happy if you never saw them again. But you know, and I've made a living, and I'm very lucky. And it's only in the last, I guess, 5 to 10 years I've done the kind of stuff that is sort of mainstream. Like Supernatural wasn't originally, but it's become a mainstream success. And it's got a huge market, right? So a lot of people know me through Supernatural. But and another movie that you might know, Hardcore Logo. Do you know Hardcore Logo? Yeah. So that was like one of my proudest movies, an independent rock and roll movie shot by Bruce McDonald. It's about the reunion of a punk band. Hugh Dillon was in it, and Hugh is a real musician. Like, he's a frontman for a band called the Headstones. And it was about the disastrous reunion of a rock and roll, a punk band. And I play this kind of, and this is another kind of role I play. I sort of look like I could be the lost brother of one of the Rolling Stones. Yeah, you know, so I sort of like do my Keith Richards and Charlie Watts mushed into one, meets Iggy Pop, meets, you know, and so that's one of my characters. So I've done a whole bunch of that sort of stuff. But it's interesting now, as opposed to, you know, people going, oh, Winnie the Pooh, now it's generally Supernatural, because it has a massive following. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. And also, the other thing that Supernatural introduced me to was the whole notion of conventions, because I had no idea what a convention was. But Supernatural has such a big fan base that it actually has organized supernatural conventions, right, where they're all taken care of, and I've become like the warm-up act. So the stars, the boys and Castiel are on Sunday, and then on Saturday it's like the regular guys with sort of an ongoing plot, and then the sort of oddballs are on Friday. I'm the chief oddball here, and I do like karaoke. I get up because I can't play an instrument or anything. Everybody else in the show is pretty musical, and they do a concert on a Saturday night. I can't sing, I can't do anything, but I get up and I make an idiot of myself doing karaoke, and that seems to go down well. So I do that on a Friday, and that was part of the whole Supernatural cons, that they got this whole formula. And that's what introduced me to the whole notion of cons. And then I started to do cons with friends of mine who were in the horror genre, and that also knew me as an actor in horror movies. So I got these two pulls. I got the Supernatural pull, and I've got the horror genre pull. Like, so I fit both categories in a way. And it's been fascinating for me as an actor, sort of seeing the industry change and seeing the fact that conventions now are as important as the actual product, you know, as the thing itself. They become a place for fans to meet, to talk, to exchange ideas, but, you know, to just sort of geek out too, and their own particular thing. I think it's great. And for me as an actor who's not, I mean, I'm not like Jared or Jensen, who have to have their security teams around them. Get back, go away. So I don't, and it's actually really healthy for me and really great to meet people that actually see the shows. And I'm amazed at the range of people, particularly here in London, funnily enough. I've had people come up, like, you know, from grandparents to pretty young kids that's seen a whole range of different shows. So for me, it's a real privilege. I'd like to be able to do this. It's great. And I'm not just saying that, you know, to be like, oh, shucks, guys, it's nice, because I hate you, really. But, you know, it's really good. It's a whole new thing. Are all of you guys veterans of cons? Like, hands up. First con? What about you other guys? Third? And is this relatively small for you guys, or big, or what? How does it rank?
This is the only con I've been to.
This is the only one, right? And most of you, this is your main con here? I think it's great.
We were going to go to the Supernatural one in Chicago a few years ago, but they wanted too much money.
Too much money. They're expensive because you got to travel, you got to stay, and then to get in, and then often you got to go be there for. If you're going to go, you might as well go for 3 days.
You have to.
And then 3 days is and then you got to get autographs. So it's a lot. It's a big investment. Some people do it as their vacation, and then they'll go on somewhere else. But what I like about this is that if it's local and people can just drive in for 20 minutes or take a bus, you can actually just come and check it out a little bit. So yeah, I've had a great time, and Patrick over there has been with me all the way through. We've been sort of sitting there and watching everybody. It's funny, we've been watching you too, just so you know. We've been checking you out and go, oh, he's back. Oh yes. Now what are they wearing today? What are they doing? Anyway, any more questions? Anybody got any? Yep. Sorry. Favorite food? Now there's a supernatural related question. Well, it's a very happy thing. For those of you that don't know Supernatural, so I played Death, the Grim Reaper in Supernatural, the Pale Horseman, and the genius of the writing of my character is that right from the get-go, they didn't portray me as this guy that kind of walks in the room and goes, "Get out of my way, I'm dead." It's but really this big, strong guy that's full of himself. They wrote it like I had a kind of a joyful, appreciation of human things, like junk food. Hi guys, come on in. Come as close as you can, because I'm not going to be mic'd. We're just sort of sitting and chatting here. Whatever's comfy for you, just come on in. No hiding in this room. Yeah. And then I take a collection at the end, So Patrick strategically positioned over there to grab you all. Anyway, so I play the Grim Reaper, but the Grim Reaper has a real love of human folly, and he also has a real respect and I wouldn't call it love, but an endearment to particularly Jensen, the Dean, the character that he's with in the show. So it's a kind of a twinkle in his eye. It's a bit like a stern old uncle and his naughty nephew. That's the kind of feel of the show. So your question about, what junk food what food do you like? Every scene that Death is in, Death is eating food. So it's kind of funny that there's this guy that's supposed to be there to dispatch people is actually eating, and it's always like pizza or pickled chips or what else is there? There's nachos and there's this hot dog, beer, pop, everything, and it's a great bit of writing. So Supernatural fans always say, "What's your favorite food?" And it's funny because I'm English. I grew up in the land of bad food. And the only food that we growing up, I remember my favorite food was a thing called a chip butty. Anybody know what that is? Anybody with English heritage here? Yeah, yes. I think our knight over there at the back, yeah. So a chip butty, a chip is what you guys would call a French fry, right? So that's my idea of a chip. So you get a bunch of chips, malt vinegar, right, like this, salt, like that, and you hold it there, and the salt goes like this, and then you squish it around, and then you get 2 slabs of, I call it Wonder Bread. What do you guys call it? Like soft white supermarket bread, right? Yeah. So you put that there, and then you just basically go with the French fries. And that absorbs all the grease. It's very good for you. It absorbs all the grease from the French fries, the chips, and then you basically take it in 2 hands and you eat it. And that's a chip butty. And if I'm feeling hungry, I still absolutely want a chip butty. Nothing else can do it but a chip butty. But it's very hard to reproduce in Canada. Pizza is good. I like pizza. And I did a show. There's a big opening scene in Supernatural where I eat Chicago pizza. And the big premise of the scene is that, I mean, it's a bit of a corny joke, but my character doesn't really mean it, but he says, well, I think I'll save Chicago because I like the pizza. You know, and he's eating this pizza all the way through. So it was my first day on set, and so I'm working with Jensen Ackles, who plays Dean. He's like the lead guy, or one of the two lead guys in the show Supernatural. So the two of us are doing this scene, and I didn't really know what to do. I didn't really know that much about the show. It was season 5. I didn't really know it was a big deal. I didn't really know that Jensen was a big deal. So I'm there, and I sort of arrive, and I was hungry. And we did the rehearsal, and the props guy came up to me and said, just so you know, we have a special deep dish Chicago pizza. We've ordered it specially from a pizzeria in Vancouver that does these things. Oh, thank you very much. That's great. So we do the rehearsal, and I'm there in the rehearsal, and I take a bite, you know, eating, and then I look at Jensen, and I realize he's just like getting a tiny little bit, and he's just sort of like sucking it on the side and then putting it down, and I'm looking at him and go, what's going on there? And then I realized, of course, this is the rehearsal. This is not even the first take. So then we do the first take, and I pick it up, and I'm not quite so enthusiastic about eating the pizza because I'm exhausted, and I'm full. I'm not hungry anymore. And then take 4, 5, different angle, take 6, 7. I'm having to eat this pizza over and over again. And I'm looking at Jensen and going, I know why you didn't take a big bite of pizza. And you'll notice all the way through the scene, I'm kind of going, like this, and he's just looking at it like this. But the reality is that I'm going like this, and then when the camera stops, I'm going, bah! I've had enough of that. So you probably didn't want to know that, but now you do. So it's going to taint your knowledge of the whole scene. Okay, so that now I've debunked that show. Is there anything else I can do? Yes?
Okay, if we were to look up or search for anything that we wanted to make us laugh until we cried, what would you suggest that you're in?
That I'm in?
Yeah, if we wanted to laugh until we cried, what should we look up?
God. I don't know. There's been a few, and generally those kind of things are like, I think the things that make people laugh like that are things that are unintentionally funny, right? So there is one I remember. I'm in the opening credits of this thing, and that's it. I'm done. But it's like, it's really serious. It's like in the 80s. I can't remember somebody quite famous was in it at the time, but like, you know, he was famous for 2 years or something, you know, like he was the lead in whatever that was the cool show at the time. He was a young, good-looking guy. It's great. The good-looking guys are never famous for very long. The weird-looking guys have careers, right? Yeah, it's great. And then, you know, like 10 years later, I pass them in the street and go, who are you? Sorry, I don't recognize you. Yeah. Anyway, so there's, who was it? It's somebody really quite well-known, but he disappeared from view now. Anyway, he was the lead, and what it is, so there's close-up of people running around in white gowns and surgical masks, and there's a woman clearly in labor, right? And there's a birth, and there's dramatic music, and then the camera does all those kind of like 80s moves where it's like, it goes like this, you know, like there's no sort of subtlety about it, but it's all like kinetic, moving camera. And then it comes up, and the titles are coming, starring so-and-so and so-and-so, so-and-so and so-and-so. And then you hear, meh, 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 the baby is crying, right? And then the nurse gets the baby, that puts the baby in the shawl and gives it over to this very strange-looking man with glasses, me, right? And like cheekbones, and like looking very severe. And the baby comes over to me, and then the title of the movie comes up over my head, Hitler's Daughter. And that's it. And it would make a great screenshot. I'd never really tried it. So it is a movie called Hitler's Daughter. I'm in the first, like, I give birth, well, I don't give birth to her, but I hold Hitler's daughter with the credits above. I think you'd enjoy that. I think you really would. And in fact, you could sort of like make money on the black market or something. But it would be hard to blackmail me because I've done so many weird things in my career that it's not going to destroy it. So don't try. Yeah, so that's one of them. And then I was saying about Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is pretty funny. When you look back on it now, the Canadian heritage moments were very serious. They were a very serious attempt to remind us all as Canadians of our heritage and that history is interesting, guys. We're not British, we're not American, we've got a really interesting history. And so it was done with a co-production with the CBC, and we all signed away our rights to any residuals or anything like that. So we did this thing, so we thought we were being really good, and I did my bit, and I played I played A.A. Milne, who was the father of Christopher Milne, who has Winnie the Pooh as the teddy bear. And that's pretty funny. There's some pretty funny. What was the quote we had today, Patrick? It was, "Why Pooh, son?" Yes, I think that should be my tagline. "Why Pooh, son?" It's one of my greatest ever lines. Okay, I think we'd better move on. Any other questions? Yes.
I got one. When they killed your character off in Supernatural, did it affect you at all, or were you upset?
No, I mean, I was
upset.
Well, thank you. Go get mad. Write to somebody. Yeah, no, I'm a realist. I'm an actor. I'm a character actor. Yeah, when I read it, I went, oh, okay. So no longer on this gig, but at the same time, it's the kind of world where you can reappear.
Yeah.
Bobby has come back, and like all kinds of people have come back. So I realize it's not the end.
I'm hoping it's not.
Yeah, I hope so. But at the same time, in some ways, there's a part of me that goes, well, it was great, and I really enjoyed it. But with anything that's really good, you also need to move on, and you need to do other stuff as well. Especially someone like me who isn't defined by one thing. I do a lot of different stuff. So mixed feelings, to be honest with you. I would be delighted if I came back. I'd be delighted. I think in the scheme of things, I think it's very progressive that this strange looking white guy is replaced by a very elegant black lady. I think that's cool. I really do. I think that there's a shift in demographic, and it's reflecting the audience that's there and reflecting the necessity of diversity in shows. So I'm happy on that level. So I'm not terribly disappointed, but I can tell you a story where it was weirder for me. I was in a show called Heartland. Do you guys know Heartland? CBC, like really popular show. I think it's running as long as Supernatural. It must be like season 12, 13, something like that. It's a really long-running show. And it's there's obviously a Heartland, the fan there. So it is though. Graham and Amber have been going forever, right? They've been smitten by each other, then they've been married, and then there's all sorts of things going on. But so in one episode, one season, I can't remember what season it was, I did, of course, the Halloween episode. It was the family primetime CBC show. I'm going to be the guest star, but I'm not going to be the regular guest star. I have to be in the spooky one. And I'm the spooky neighbor that has the ranch next door to Amber's ranch, the heroine's ranch. And the show starts with the horses being sick, and Amber worried about the sick horses and worried about Mr. Hanley. Is he a creepy guy? Does this sound familiar? Is that guy creepy? He looks it. And so, but then we realize through the show that I'm actually quite hard up, and I'm quite needy, and I'm not maltreating my animals, but I'm poor. And we sort of feel sorry for me at the end. And but along the way, it's kind of a spooky show, and it's shot in a way for a Halloween episode. So I did that, and it was a good experience, and then I came away, and then I got a call next season saying, oh, you're in another episode of Heartland, and we've introduced your sister. And I'm thinking, ooh, so maybe I'm becoming like an important part of this CBC show on regular television. This is a good job coming up. So I came in, I did the job. I met my sister, who was pretty regular looking. She was like, I was impressed at how she looked. You know, she didn't look too strange or anything. So we did the show, and then I'm thinking, well, you know, this is interesting. Wonder if this will lead to anything else. I didn't hear anything else, and that's the way. Like I'm an actor that goes from job to job to job, so I tend to forget about stuff and move on with other things. So a couple of years pass, and I'm thinking, oh, it's Sunday night, and my daughter is in the room with me, and my daughter sort of likes Heartland, but she's not that keen on it. But I said, hey, let's turn on CBC. Let's look at Heartland and see what's going on. So I turn on the TV, and at that moment, I swear this happened. There's an ambulance going down a road, a dirt road, and then the camera cuts to Amber Marshall, who is our lead, and she's in tears. And her line is, I'm so sorry about what happened to Mr. Hanley. And the ambulance goes down the road, and I said to my daughter, that's me in the ambulance. I've just had a heart attack. And I didn't know because it killed me. So that was one of the weirdest ever experiences of going, oh, not only am I never going to return to this show, but I've just been killed. And I had no idea, and I just turned on at the moment of my death. How strange is that? So that was one of the odder moments. So Supernatural, by comparison to that, was nothing. Really. Yeah, I saw it coming. Yeah. Although the character didn't see it coming, but yeah. And
have the gigs over the years come quite, consistently enough that you never get too concerned about the next gig?
Pretty well. I've been lucky. Okay. I still worry. I still you do a gig and then you think, oh, that was great, and that's going to get me a bit of attention, or somebody's going to be interested. And it's often back to square one. I live in Canada. We don't have a system that's quite the same as the States. And I'm glad about that. I'm not kind of going, oh dear. I choose to live here. I'm a proud Canadian. We have healthcare. We have all kinds of things that I'm happy about. We don't celebrate fame, and we don't celebrate celebrity in the way that folks do in the US. It's a different culture, and I'm comfortable with that. That's fine, and I'm comfortable with just people coming up on the street and going, "Hey, you're that guy in," so like that. I'm good with that. But what it means is that people don't kind of go, "Oh my God, no, he's like that's Julian Richings. We have to get him a job," and I don't have like 10 people around me paid to look for. If I was in Los Angeles, I'd have a team of people, a manager, an agent, like all these people. I would be like a mini industry. I'm just an actor here. That's what I do, and I'm lucky. I'm an actor that can do. I do voice. I do theater. I do like radio, TV. So I'll do anything. Sometimes I'll be a guest artist that goes in schools, and I'll do stuff for and be with people. And the newest thing that I'm doing quite a bit of is motion capture and games, which is like the gaming industry is huge, right? I'm not the generation for playing games, and even my kids didn't really grow up playing a lot of games, so it's new to me. But I did an Assassin's Creed, which, because there's Ubisoft in Toronto, right? Yeah. You guys know that? It's a big place there, and so I did the London Assassin's Creed, which I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, I played Charles Darwin in that, and I did the motion capture and the voice, and I've just done another one called Atlas, the Battle for... I'm looking over to my friend Patrick for a cue here. I always forget. Anyway, you can tell by my attitude is that I like doing what I do, but I don't kind of go, oh, and by the way, don't forget to, I'm not really, I know, it's what I do. So I think also that a lot of people ask me, how can I be an actor? What should I do? If you love acting, and you just have to act. I think people confuse the art and the act of acting with the state of being a celebrity. Being a celebrity is not being an actor. right? They're two different things. Sometimes they come together, sometimes, but I'm an actor, I'm not a celebrity. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at my life. And to get back to your question, I'm an actor. So there are times when I'm going, I've got nothing coming up for 3 months. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I've worked it out. My wife has always had more steady employment over the years. She's not an actor, so between the two of us, she kind of keeps like that, and I go like this kind of thing. And so having kids and stuff, it's been okay, because it's meant sometimes when I've had periods of unemployment, I've been able to be with the kids. So you make it work like anybody else, right? Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, sort of a technical one. When you guest star in a series and you get a screenplay, does the writer ever sit down and talk to you about the character or the show?
It depends. Everybody here? Okay, everybody hear the question? It depends. It depends sort of where I am in the process of the screenplay. If it's a guest, if it's a guest, say, on a show like Supernatural, let's say, like a big show that's got its own sense of what it is, probably not. Probably they're going to decide, oh yeah, I fit into what they see, and I will do my best to fit into their idea of what they see, and I'll try and introduce whatever I can bring in that's unique and fresh about me, right? So that, but there's not a lot of discussion. I'm finding now that as I get older, and some people actually want me to do a show, particularly younger directors will say, would you be in this show? We know who you are, you have a certain kind of identity. Let's talk about it, let's see how we can make it work for you. Let's shift it and change it around. There's input, but generally not television. Television is a medium that sort of is in a hurry all the time, and there's not a lot of space to collaborate in it. Television, there's the whole thing, if you're shooting 12 episodes in a season, you're often shooting, say, you're shooting episode 4, you're doing the final edits and the sort of other, like the stunts maybe and the close-ups for episode 2, and you're rehearsing and reading for episode 6. You're doing all this other stuff at the same time. It's kind of fragments of everything. So there's not a lot of chance.
Follow up on that. Like, do you ever be in a situation where the way you do the part is really different from the way a writer is written it?
Not so much. I think generally that happens more at the level of casting or the director going, I'll give you an example. I was in a movie by Bruce McDonald. I worked with Bruce McDonald a lot, independent Toronto filmmaker. Hardcore Logo was one of his films. I did a film called The Tracey Fragments with him. And Ellen Page was actually in it. It was the film she shot before she shot Juno. And actually, I think she's great in The Tracey Fragments, and in some ways better than she is in Juno. Like, she's really good, and she plays a very upset, confused teenager with a lot of angst, and it's a very abstract film with lots of images, lots of stuff going on. And the casting directors for that film put out a casting note for a psychiatrist. She had to come visit a psychiatrist, right? And it was for a woman. And so I never heard, and although Bruce is a friend of mine, it was written as a woman. The casting director said, what about Julian Richings playing a woman? And it was a great idea. And Bruce went, yes, absolutely. And so I'm in that movie playing a psychiatrist, playing a woman. I'm a woman. And there's no sense in it of, oh, am I a transvestite? Am I a transsexual? Or there's nothing like that. They just thought it would be right because the girl is confused. The girl has a strange... Yeah. But okay, so there you go. There's an honest response. But their perspective was that, okay, so she's seeing the world through this messed up lens, and she's talking to somebody, and somebody's being perfectly serious, and you're going, what's wrong here? There's something off about this scene, but I don't know why. And the whole scene was weird anyway. So I thought that was a creative, interesting bit of casting, but the writing was still the same. It was actually the casting and the direction that took the risk. See what I mean? Yeah.
Great film, though. Great
Yeah,
film.
oh, good music too. Bruce always uses good music. Yeah.
I'd like to know what was the most challenging character you have to play?
Challenging character. I guess technical. Like film is a very technical medium. Film and television. Theater is less technical, and so I guess the more technically challenging a role is, the more difficult it is, because you have to hit. So, I can be coming in and I could be doing the best performance in the world, but it's no good if I don't hit my mark. The lighting designer says, you come up to here, and you've got this great special effect on your eye here. If I don't hit that mark, I can be acting my heart out, doing a great performance. It's not going to look very good, right? So there's always no matter what people say, there's always a technical element to film and television. You need to be able to land there and then do whatever I'm supposed to do. So to take that further, a lot of creature movies are very hard. I did Wrong Turn. Do any of you guys know Wrong Turn? So Wrong Turn, I played there's three brothers, hillbilly cannibals. I'm the youngest and the cutest. One brother's 7'3", the other brother's 6'9", and then I'm the nasty little three finger. And so for that, I had I had prosthetic arm and a false shoulder and I had contact lenses, and I had a whole bunch of stuff that was a problem. Like you guys that are cosplaying, you know what it's like, right? Like you wear stuff, but you have to make it your own. And so I had to somehow technically make this character work, but also I knew it was a horror film and I knew I had to work within a certain rhythm and do certain things. So it was very challenging. It was probably the hardest that I've had to do. A lot of people watch my movies and they always think it must be very challenging for me to do stuff like death, to do a scene where, let's say, somebody close to me has died that's emotional. I don't actually find those scenes very difficult. I can put myself in those places. I can. My imagination and my sensitivity is enough that I can do that. That's not a problem for me. Never a problem. But it's actually the technical aspects that are hard. So I, to be honest, I would say those kind of things. Stuff where I'm wearing prosthetics, where I have to sell a gag. Stunts in movies always talk about selling the gag, and it sounds kind of crude, but you have to understand that somebody comes in and there's a fight, and it's the same thing. Somebody goes like that, and then the other guy goes like this, and there's clearly that much space between the two. It looks terrible. So you have to sell the gag. You have to figure out, okay, so we have to do it. There's the camera, and you have to be there, and I have to be here, and I have to land there, and you have to turn your head in that. There's a technical element to it, and that's actually quite challenging because you're all working on it together. And I think it's funny that in a convention like this, we got wrestlers here because actually it's some of the same issues that they have, right? They've got to do stuff they've got to figure out how they've worked the audience up, they're going to do the bad guys talking to the good guy, and they've got to kind of bring it to an end, a crescendo, but they've got to do it technically so that people don't see that it's false or that they buy into it. They've got to sell the gag. So there's a bit of that. That doesn't mean to say that we're all false and we're all like snake oil salesmen, but there's a degree of technicality to it. Yep.
What would have been the most enjoyable role?
Most enjoyable? Oh, it's always a dream for me. Sometimes I'll get the role where, I'm one of 7 bad guys that's lurking around, so that I get to hang out in movies and watch really good actors act, and just stand there, or if it's a western, to do all this kind of stuff. Honestly, it's fun because then you're with a gang, and I've managed to be in a few of those. There was, what was it? I'm was somewhere where I was always like one of the bad guys. Like, oh, it's that weird face in the bad guys. But so I like those. But favorite ones, I don't know. I had a thought, and then I got diverted by myself. There's been a few. Some allow me to do stuff and to be places that I would never dream of being, like, you know, in my real life, like, you know, and they give me access to places, or I find myself on a boat, pretending to sail a boat, you know, and that's amazing. The question was, what's my favorite, right? Like
Yeah, like your most enjoyable moment.
most
fun you've
enjoy-
had,
yeah, most fun I've had. I don't know. I really enjoyed Hardcore Logo. I really enjoyed that, like, as an actor, because it represents a lot of what I grew up with. It's, like, to me, punk, growing up in England in the 70s, was an important movement. It was energy, great energy, and it was like, there was a lot of great music that I went to and I watched, and I was able to channel some of my heroes in that role. So I really enjoyed doing that. I can't really single out one. I try to put a bit of myself in everything. I mean, you know, you try to enjoy everyone, and then it comes across on screen if you're happy. I think you can generally tell when an actor's not comfortable in a role. Like, you kind of go, okay, Al Pacino's normally really good, but he's not very good in this movie. Like, you know when certain really good actors are off their stride a little bit. Yeah. Well, that's a very good question. So an actor like me, I have a lot of fun doing what I do. Like, I feel like as a character, I often am the primary color. Like, if you've got like the brand of a show, like Supernatural or Heartland or any show, you'll have guests, or you have somebody coming in with a primary color, and then the regular guys in the show have to deal with that primary color, and they get on with the business. You know what I mean? So it's my job to come in like that, like strong, and then I'm there, and then I'm gone. I guess I would really like to carry the energy of an entire show, which is something like I don't normally do, and character actors don't often, especially in North America. In Britain they do a little bit more. You get more diversity of leading actors. Like an example, do you remember Cracker? Do any of you guys know Robbie Coltrane? He's actually in Harry Potter, right? He's the big... Yeah,
British show, right?
Yeah, British show. And what's his character's name? Hagrid. Okay, so he's a big guy. He's a big guy, and he played, I think, a lawyer or a detective called Cracker. It's a really, and who was addicted to both drink and gambling. So lots of traits that we don't normally identify with culturally, and he was our hero, and. It was interesting because it got remade in the States, and they took away his weight, they took away his addiction, and they kind of blanded him out, right? So he was no longer a really interesting, contradictory guy. He was like a bland guy, like so that to me is what happens a lot. So I would like to be the guy that is a little bit quirky, but you stay with. And somebody else brings their primary color, and I keep going with it. I think that's what I would like. But I got no complaints. I like what I do. Sorry? What got me started? I've always acted. I'm the middle child. I think a lot of actors are middle children. Anybody here middle child? So I got two brothers. I'm the middle one, and I don't know why, but like, there's something about. There's a sense of you're a different person with one brother, different person with the older brother's always the older brother, the young brother's always the young. The middle brother's sort of like in between, and different with everybody. And I've always been like, I've been quite skillful at that. Like I can be different with different people. And I don't mean shallow. I don't mean like I'm a completely different person with one person than that. But like I respond differently. I'm like in medieval England, actors were considered to have no souls. They were buried at crossroads, right? They weren't buried in graveyards. And I sort of understand where that comes from, because actors, I think, good actors are able to shift and be different people. And I'm able to be that. Like I can be, I can have different friends. I don't kind of go, I don't like that person. I don't like their principles. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I tend to kind of morph a bit. So I've always been an actor. I've always liked it. And then I thought, well, when I was like 17, 18, I always put on plays, always did stuff. And I thought, I want to keep doing this, but I don't want to go to a drama school. And I know it's an insecure profession, and I don't want to be hoity-toity actor, because in England there's a class system too, right, on top of that. So I thought, well, I'll go to university and I'll study drama and I'll study English, and maybe if I get a degree, I'll be able to teach. But I just kept doing drama, more drama, and then I joined a theatre company, and then I did more, and then I just kept going. So I don't think there was ever a moment where I went, I want to be an actor. That's what I am. I kind of morph a little bit with different people. So the interesting thing is, though, and this is again why I think I'm an actor, is that I'm actually quite shy. But you guys, like, you wouldn't think it because I'm standing up here and I'm waving my hands around, but if I'm given permission to do something, like a play gives me permission, or a movie gives me permission to be bad and nasty and say nasty things, I'll do it. You know what I mean? So if I'm told that, you know, okay, you got to go up there in front of 20 people and you got to, I'll do it. So, and I've got that talent. And I think that's an ability to be able to do that. But I'm not naturally, like, normally I'm kind of like, I listen more
You're
than
still
I talk.
tapping into real parts of your inner self, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. You know, the other key for an actor, I honestly think it's people that don't talk, it's people that listen. I think they're actors. Because the best actors are listeners, right? And the best acting, and especially in film and TV, is when you see a scene, you know that the person is listening to what the other person is saying, and then they're responding. A lot of the time you're seeing somebody with their lines in their brains, and they're not listening to the other person at all, and they just kind of say their lines. So it's about being real, you know, like, and being interested in people rather than interested in like a particular idea or something. So
Well, you're playing off other people.
You're playing off.
Right? So
You're playing off.
You got to be in tune.
We're in tune, and so whatever energy they're giving you, you've got to be, like, either be defensive or, you know, you've got to give and take. So I'm good at that, and I think that's my skill as an actor. It's not about being ever so this or ever so that, but that's, so, wow, that was a long answer, but anyway. Now, Patrick, what, 5 minutes? Yeah. So we got 5 minutes before we got to go. Yeah?
I'm just wondering, if you talk about the character actor versus the being shy and suddenly you're there, did you ever find like you're just sort of out as you're honest with the way you're trying to think as you are, you know, you got someone else who you're with that guy. Do you ever find that really frustrating or
Do I ever find...
does it affect your, I guess, like how you feel about the work that you do? If someone's just like, oh, well, aren't you that guy for that show?
No, you mean like being recognized?
Yes, like you said you were shy. You were
Yeah,
shy.
it never bothers me. It never because it never happens that much. I get it a lot. I mean, every day, like 3 or 4 times, and my wife always knows. Like we'll be in the store or something, and she'll go, "They know who you are. You better say hello." You know, like a bunch of people. Like I'm totally cool with that.
When you're sitting out there, you got like a lot
It's not like I've got like hundreds of people like walking around me. And I'm an actor, you know, I like the idea that people watch what I see and what I do and they like it, you know, so that's fine. and we're Canadians, so we tend to be very polite. You know, people are and cons too. You know, people are very respectful in cons. Like there are a series of rules, a series of expectations that you address people in a certain way, or you don't take a photograph here, or you ask to do this. I think everybody's very respectful, and I'm amazed and very impressed. I think if we were in an athletic world, like athletes probably go through much worse things. You know, you're a Blue Jay or somebody that happens to be somewhere, and people just want a piece of you. You know, whereas I think all of us in this room kind of understand there's a give and take in things, and we're more like there's a sensitivity. So it never bothers me. But yeah. So, yeah.
You're on Black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Tatiana Maslany back in
No.
No, she just lives back.
Yeah, but so we're talking about Orphan Black, which I think is a wonderful show. Tatiana I never say last name, but Maslany, is a wonderful actress from Regina, Saskatchewan. She plays like clones of herself, so she's 6 different people, I think, at one point. And she's fantastic. Your question was if she's a method actor. The thing that she had to get into the zone for was the accents. So the English accent wasn't natural to her. So what she would do is, if she was going to play the English, Sarah, she would be walking around and you'd talk to her, and she would be in that sort of voice. Not because she was being that character, but she didn't want to lose the English because it's hard for her to go back into being a Saskatchewan girl.
Did she love any of the English accents?
Sometimes she had a voice coach, she dialect coach, she went there quite well. It was very good at dialect, and she'd do a scene and then he'd come up and go, well, you know that word didn't sound right. You know, try it again with that word sounding a bit different. But he was very good. He wouldn't make her self-conscious, because there's nothing worse when you're told, oh, don't say a boot. I know that Canadians always say a boot, you know, and you go, and you come up to it, and you always go, I bet, boot. You stumble because somebody's brought your attention to it, rather than just gently kind of guide you by it or something. So this guy was very good, and then as the seasons went on, he left her more and more. She got more and more confident, and she just wore it. You know, there comes a point where you could wear an accent. You just like let it settle into you rather than put on an accent. And I thought she did a very good job. And I'm English, so I recognize that it was very accurate. I think is it time, Patrick? I think we have to go. I just wanted to say thank you so much for waiting all this time. I think we're the last thing, so it means a lot to me. I really appreciate you being here and sharing the time, and it's been a wonderful con. So thanks for being here. And thank you. And we're going to be over there for. This is the the sales technique here going in. But we will be there if you want anything. Like we still got 8x10s and we do selfies and stuff. So we're over there for another 10 or 15 minutes. But if not, really doesn't matter. It's been lovely talking to you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of the 2018 London Comic Con. Please like, comment and subscribe to see more, and let us know below what you think of this video. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.